So we are going to start the Dhamma discussion based on your experiences. So if anyone has any question, feel free to ask even when we are continuing. And so we'll start with the written questions.
All right. We have a lot of submissions. Due to the time, we just focus on the questions to the Bande. Okay, good afternoon, Bande. While I'm meditating, I'm able to note my breath. However, I also see many shining lights, blue and red, flashing through my mind. I am very disturbed. What should I do?
No, thing is, particularly when we practice Anapanasati, mindfulness on breathing, so these lights can appear. Now it indicates that we are developing certain amount of samadhi, certain amount of concentration. Sometimes we call it as the sign of concentration and the nimitta in Pali. But the point is still you are not to the level of making use of it. Because the lights at different colors, now it is saying different colors simply flashing, so it is not stable. So you can't do much with it. So continue your Anapanasati. So basically the idea is, as we develop concentration through mindfulness of breathing, particularly when you are more into the concentration side, so these lights come and go, but ultimately it will become stable. So till that you don't need to worry about it. So continue to develop Anapanasati. Be with the breath further. Simply ignore these lights for the time being.
Thank you, Bande. Both Samadhi meditation and Vipassana meditation start with noting the breath. How can I know I'm doing which meditation, either Samadhi or Vipassana?
No, actually at the beginning we don't need to. We simply have to establish mindfulness. So where we lead to has to happen naturally. So sometimes we directly navigate towards Vipassana, sometimes into Samatha. It varies. So at the beginning don't worry about it, whether I am going to do Vipassana, I am going to do Samatha. So you are trying to control the whole situation, no need. So first just establish mindfulness. So use noting just to establish mindfulness. Later the point is, say, if you completely ignore the information available in the breath, say for example where it is going in, from which nostril it is going in, from which nostril it is coming out, the subtle aspects of breathing, say that it is where it is touching, whether it is warm or cool. So these are actually promotes Vipassana. That promotes actually Vipassana because the investigation is prominent. But on the other hand, if you are ignoring that, simply you are keeping your attention at the nostril. Your main idea is to maintain attention, maintain your, say, concentration at the nostril, ignoring all the details, then you are more biased towards the Samatha. So better to have a combination. So at first you simply establish mindfulness, use in-breath, out-breath, that kind of a noting. Let it calm down, let your mind be with each and every breath. Later, if you feel, okay, now it does not wander, no distractions, it remains calm, that means a considerable amount of concentration being developed. Now you can start the investigation. So we are giving attention to many aspects. So we are not ignoring the mindfulness and wisdom, rather we have given some attention to that as well. But at the beginning, giving attention to wisdom would be difficult. So better be with the concentration, be with the mindfulness, develop fair amount of concentration, it will naturally happen. And then when you feel, okay, now mind is calm, relaxed, tranquil, and it remains with the object, now start investigating.
Yeah, so Bhante is similar in the question. In doing Vipassana, does it involve contemplation or just observing the nature of change? If I am to contemplate, isn't that a kind of thinking? And how do I know when my mind is carried away by stray thoughts?
No, actually the Idea is that first we need to have some amount of mindfulness, so it is not wavering, not to the past, not to the future, completely in the present moment. Now certain phenomena are arising. So by that time your inner chatter has to completely almost disappear. So there is no thinking at all, but you are carefully observing. So this careful observation is fair enough. You don't need to say, okay, it is impermanent, anicca. No need at all. That will, in a way, hinder the path. That will obstruct the understanding because you are trying to forcefully make it impermanent. So these phenomena are naturally impermanent. So we don't need to make them impermanent. So we are simply learning their impermanence. So they are inherently impermanent. So it's a matter of observing it. Through observation, you will learn. And the thorough observation is the key. So it's a very silent, very balanced, unbiased kind of an observation. So that observation gives you more thorough understanding, experiential knowledge of impermanence.
The next two questions are related, so I combine them. One is to say that I'm glad to learn that breathing in is abdomen out and breathe out is abdomen in. But I thought we should not focus on the breathing at the nostril area. Natural breathing is good. So could Bande clarify? This is the first. Second one is...
One moment.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a natural thing. So when we breathe in, the abdomen comes forward. When we breathe out, it's going back. It doesn't mean we are looking at breathing at the nostril as well as the abdominal movement. So you have to select abdominal movement. So you are focusing your attention on the abdominal movement, but as a matter of fact, you know it comes forward when the breathing in happens. It coming back, returning back only when the breathing out happens. So it's a knowledge. So for the time being, you need to simply be aware of abdominal movement. But say at another point that you decided, okay, now I better shift to Anapanasati. You prefer that. But not necessary. But if you really want, you can shift to Anapanasati, to mindfulness on breathing. Then you let go of this. You let go of abdominal movement. You shift your attention to mindfulness of breathing and be with it.
Right. So the follow-up question is, when I'm focusing on the breathing, I really realize that I try to breathe deeply, as if I'm worried to be out of breath.
Yeah, so these things can happen because at the beginning you are forceful about breathing, you are trying to control breathing. So these are beginners' problems. So don't worry about it. You will later understand, I don't need to struggle like this, it's effortful and I feel tired because of that. So I know how to breathe. Do you know how to breathe? Even children know how to breathe, right? So it is not something we need to learn how to breathe. So the body knows how to breathe. So even when we are sleeping, the body is breathing. So the people, when they start mindfulness of breathing, so they don't know how to breathe. So the basic idea is it's already known fact. So the body knows how to breathe. So let it breathe naturally. So you don't need to interfere. So let the body naturally breathe and you become an outsider. That's why I yesterday or day before yesterday mentioned, it's like you are watching someone lying down and breathing. Assume that you are going to a hospital to see a patient and you are carefully watching how he is breathing. Maybe he is taking a long breath, maybe a short breath, maybe he is connected to the machine, he is breathing. So you are an outsider. You simply watch. Same thing here. Let the body belong to someone else. Let the body be the body. It knows how to breathe. And you, like an outsider, simply watch. So this art you will learn. So at the beginning you sometimes unnecessarily put your finger. But later you understand, okay, no need. Let the body breathe whatever the way it wants. Let me simply watch. So you will learn it by, say, with time.
Bhante, this yogi explained that he or she cannot maintain a straight posture and tends to slouch. So he says that I will straighten up again and I find it difficult to maintain a straight posture all the time. Can I lean against the wall when I practice at home?
Yeah, that's why even now some are leaning onto the chair. So I mean, don't think that you always has to be rigidly maintain a straight posture and you should never use a chair. I mean, if you are very young, so better start like this. So you start sitting down without any support, because we have the capacity. So as you are growing with time, you can start maintaining the posture. And if you are practicing some yoga exercises, definitely will help. And even when you are doing some yoga exercises, you can maintain mindfulness. Then it becomes a kaya anupassana. And after the yoga session, you can actually sit. It will be more successful. And if you are pretty old and if you have certain back pains and this and that, so don't ignore meditation. Just use a chair and try it. Yeah.
May I please consult Bhante on the following I have experienced. This happens on a regular basis.
No, can't, not clear.
Okay, testing. Whenever I observe the body from head to toes, the head will feel very tight, as if something is pulling my whole head. When I try to investigate the sensation, it gets more intense. The feeling will continue for some time, then the tightness will reduce. May I ask if this is a normal experience? The sensation comes and goes, even when I am observing other parts of the body.
No, actually, let me give a couple of examples. Now assume that I have to watch this. If I take it very close, if I take it very far away, if I take it to the side or other side, what would be the most convenient way of watching it, observing it? So you have to maintain a better distance, right? A proper distance, a convenient distance. Then it is effortless. You can easily watch it. So how to know where to keep it? Maybe little trial and error. When you are trying here, not good. Somewhere far, not good. Very close, also not good. Then you are adjusting yourself. Okay, this is the best place to keep it. Then I can watch it conveniently. So similarly, during your observation, if you are putting too much effort, it can create some stress. So during your observation process, during your vipassana process, so you have to learn how to balance it. So what is the necessary amount of effort I need to maintain? So where I need to keep my attention? So these are in a way some practical points. As you are continuing, you may understand, okay, I don't need to put too much effort. Now mind does not wander. Now mind remains there. And again, if I am not putting enough effort, then the object might slip or I might fall asleep. So a certain amount of effort is necessary. So that right balance, that right amount is something you need to learn. Trial and error.
The same yogi asked, the body always warm up and sometimes perspire when he meditates in a cool room with aircon on. May I please ask if this is normal?
Not normal, by the way. Maybe you are putting too much effort. The thing is, if you are maintaining a very balanced posture and naturally various phenomena are happening and you are keeping the right effort, then you may feel comfortable and the phenomena are happening naturally, and very unlikely that you feel tired or sweating and all that. So there may be something wrong. So you need to check what is going wrong. What is the fault that I am making? So probably, may I know who has written it? You? Can you come to the mic? So is it happening continuously in all sessions?
Most of the sessions.
Most of the sessions.
Yes.
You feel tired or sweating?
This has been going on ever since I started meditation.
How long? How long? Like
I think for about 2 years.
2 years.
So the heat comes and go, but most of the time I can feel that the perspirations is like I always feel perspiration. I always feel very warm. Even though there are days that I do sit very comfortably, the mind is very calm. I still feel that there's warmth in the body.
What about your walking session?
Walking sessions, it depends where I walk. If it's in air-conditioned room, I think it's quite okay. Yes.
No, I mean during the walking, you can properly see various sensations.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Any sweating happens? Perspiration happen? No, nothing.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay, then it seems to be a natural. I mean, is it a kind of a hindrance for you? Is it kind of an obstacle? Or can you continue?
I can continue. That's why I think Bhante, you're so right. Maybe sometimes I do put in a lot of effort.
Correct.
In especially my sitting meditation when it comes to observations. So I will try, as what you have advised, to really see things from afar when it comes to very intense sensation. But sometimes when the heat comes, it can be quite intense, especially at the back of my neck and my spine.
Right.
Yeah. It gets even more intense when I sit much longer and I experience pain.
Right.
I can feel that the whole body actually flare up. It's almost like I'm in a fire. But there are certain occasions where I'm able to kind of get my mind out and observe it. I can feel that the sensation, even though there is pain and heat, but I can kind of feel that it has reduced by almost 50% when I'm able to step out.
So one thing is, don't continuously look at the fire element. So if you are continuously looking the fire element, because then you are giving more effort or rather more attention to only to that. Because we have many elements, okay, then you can, for a while you can look at how the fire element works, say how heat happens. Later you can look at a movement happen, kind of a vibration happen.
Yes.
Maybe another time you can see how a touching happens, maybe weight happens. So likewise, if you have a combination of different elements, then a balance would be possible. Because if you select only a particular element and trying to pay attention continuously for that, it can become more intense. So don't continuously look at only a single type of element, but navigate to the other elements as well. Then you have a kind of a combination of different elements, and kind of a different flavor is there, and you will be more balanced in that sense.
Yes, I do scan my and I flow it. Sometimes like in and out, but there are specific occasions where I could feel that all the sensations are firing up at the same time.
That's right. They may be definitely available at the same time. Different sensations definitely available at the same time, but purposely you select a variety of it. Then you have a kind of a variety, and then the mind may not intensely attach to a particular element.
Okay.
So if we now say, for example, if you are selecting only the vibration continuously, then you may end up with vibration.
Yeah, I do feel, sometimes I do feel the body just vibrate involuntarily. I could
that's
sense
the thing.
it, yes.
So that's why, after some time you better switch to a different element.
Okay.
Because all gives us the same understanding. So we don't need to give any preference to only a kind of an element. We all are telling us the same scenario.
But I must say that I'm also progressing. I'm no longer afraid of all these sensations. Yeah, I'm just observing. But sometimes it gets very intense. It's very hard for me to move out of it.
Yeah. So, when it is possible, make an intentional shift to another side.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sister. Then we move on to the next question. So I just read from the middle of it. From time to time, my mind got wandered away by other thoughts, and also I feel sleepy. I try to bring my attention back to breathing whenever I'm aware of the thoughts and the sleepiness. I felt calm, peaceful when no thoughts arise. So the question is, when thoughts arise, do we need to watch the thoughts as it arises and disappear, or we just put our attention back to the breathing straight away?
Now, if you can handle watching thoughts, you can do it, no harm. Because the capacity to watch thoughts as merely thoughts is developing. At the beginning you may not have that capacity, but as you are continuing the practice, you develop this capacity. Now thoughts are there and you can see they are simply a thought. And once you being aware of it, it may even disappear. So you can make use of that. So the capacity being developed, so don't be afraid of watching the thoughts. You can watch it. And in case you being carried away by that, so that means not enough mindfulness is available. You better return back to breathing.
The next question is about walking meditation. The primary object is on the feet to focus and get the mind concentrated. If this is correct, when do we note on the bodily sensation in the body, for example, sweating and other things? Is it possible to use body scanning for other bodily sensations after the mind to focus during the walking meditation?
Yeah, you can. Basically, while walking, say you paid particular attention to the sensations at your soles, at your foot, but once you sit, you can use the whole body, because sensations are available throughout the body, and select the most prominent ones and keep your attention there and observe it. If it disappears, if there's another sensation available, put your attention there, observe it. So no problem. And even in walking, actually, in the beginning, we restrict to some extent. Okay, you keep attention particularly to the soles, to the feet, to the below the knees. But once you develop the capacity, throughout the body also may be possible.
So Bhante, this is also pertaining to walking meditation. The question is, during walking meditation, we observe the sensation we feel at the side of our feet, at the sole of our feet. This seems to be discerning 4 elements of the environment. How do we discern 4 elements of our body during mindful walking? Second question, mindful walking meditation sharpens our mind. Is this the only purpose, or is there something that we can achieve through mindful walking?
Actually, we already discussed few things about it. So it is true that we are sharpening the mindfulness, we are developing some amount of body awareness, developing the right aiming, those skills. So once they are there, now as you said, so different elements are manifesting throughout the body. So particularly you can observe at your feet, at your soles, how these sensations are arising, how these element characteristics are available. So ultimately we are in the elements meditation. So we are into Vipassana. So how these element characteristics appear and how long it persists when it is disappeared. And so you are recognizing their nature, their true nature, how they are arising, how they are passing away. So when your faculties are sharpened, when the mindfulness, concentration, clear comprehension sharpens, so you have a lot of information available for your practice, a lot of raw material available for your practice. Maybe at your soles, below the knees, vibrations, weight shifting, hardness, softness, so many, and heat, cold, all this becomes your raw material for your practice. So the point is, when you are working on the Kayanupassana, so in order to know impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and non-self, so these are called the common characteristics, universal characteristics. But before you know that, you need to know the phenomena, how the phenomena manifest, how hardness, softness, roughness. So these are the fundamental characteristics of the elements. Say earth element has typically around 6 fundamental characteristics. Water element has 2 fundamental characteristics. Heat element has 2. Air element has 2. So different, that fundamental characteristics we should know. So when we start knowing that, so they will naturally tell us the universal characteristics. Did you get the point? Now, where are we going to find impermanence, unsatisfactoriness and non-self? Now, I can simply say, okay, this temple is impermanent. Do you agree? But, I mean, that is still mostly conceptual. It is not into the more deeper sense. So I can say, this ball is impermanent, this spectacle is impermanent. Now these are still the names, labels that we have given. These are still into the conceptual level. So we have to go beyond that. So knowing that something, what we know, whatever the given name, and this temple is impermanent, this body is impermanent, my robe is impermanent, my clothes are impermanent, my children are impermanent, my house is impermanent, my car is impermanent. Good, no problem, but not enough. So we have to go beyond that. We have to go to the very characteristic level, very fundamental element level. So that's why we have some sharp mindfulness, a fairly concentrated mind to know that the fundamental characteristics, the very elementary characteristics. So when you know that, you are recognizing hardness, softness and all that very fundamental element characteristics, they will naturally teach you or take you to the common characteristics. There's a kind of a law there, kind of a theory there. So before you know universal characteristics, the common characteristics, we better first understand the individual characteristics of the elements. So the earth element manifests as hardness, softness, roughness, smoothness, weight, and the heaviness and the lightness. The air element, using the vibrations, it will manifest. And then the heat element, hot and cold. And then the water element, the fluidity nature and the cohesion. It binds things together. So these are the very elementary kind of characteristics, fundamental kind of characteristics. So we are sort of touching that, we are understanding that, examining that. Actually, so these elements are the ones ultimately building all the huge things. So we are not going to look at each and every built objects. Rather, we go to the very fundamental characteristics, and knowing how changing they are, then that understanding is more powerful. So therefore, that's why first of all we are recognizing these fundamental characteristics, and then slowly we will understand how impermanent they are, how unsatisfactory they are, and how non-governable, non-self they are.
Okay, so during our walking meditation, we are walking barefoot. Now the question is, I don't know if the sensation can be felt in the walking shoes outdoors.
Sorry?
So how about we are wearing the shoes and walking outdoors?
Still you may feel. So it depends on you. So if you are very sensitive, and even while you are wearing shoes, you can recognize many sensations at your soles, you can do it. But typical advice, if you are at home, if you are being inside, you better walk barefoot. Then it's more natural, and your foot being massaged, and you get other health benefits, and you will be properly grounded. And now, unlike the previous knowledge, now people understand, okay, being with the nature is more healing than deviating from the nature. So typically we think, okay, I have to wear shoes, I have to be with everything. I mean, otherwise a lot of, germs are there. True, accepted. But when you are somewhat sure, okay, this is somewhat neat, fairly clean, so walking barefooted, will really ground you, reduce the stress, and it will be more healthy.
The next question is, when is the best time to practice working mindfully in the daily life?
Anytime. Whatever is convenient to you. Particularly after a meal.
This question is returning to the people sitting on the chair. Because my legs are short, I couldn't touch my 2 feet flat on the ground. But touching the toe, is it okay?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So the legs are short, and when they sit on the chairs, cannot touch the feet flat on the ground.
So while sitting, so you can observe rising and falling. You don't need to watch the foot.
So this person is touching the toes. Is it okay?
Why you need to particularly watch that? You are always worried about what I can't do. But you can do a lot.
Notice rough sensation on the soles when walking on tarmac for 45 minutes. Is it dukkha? Sometimes feelings are intense and do not cease easily. How do I observe them? Do we mentally treat them as footsteps with the lifting, moving, touching to encourage feelings to cease?
Actually, what we experience totally is dukkha. So we are working on 5 clinging aggregates. So may I ask a question? When Buddha defines dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering, so what is noble truth of suffering? 5 clinging aggregates, right? 5 clinging aggregates are the noble truth of suffering. Panchupadana khanda dukkha. So if you refer, say, the clinging aggregate of the form, it is suffering. If you consider the feeling aggregate, it is suffering. Say, the attached part, the grasping part of the feelings is suffering. Grasping part of the perceptions, suffering. Formation, suffering. Consciousness, suffering. So all the 5 aggregates can cause suffering. So through Satipatthana, whenever we are working with whatever the form aggregate, feeling aggregate, formations, everything, so we are knowing the suffering nature. So that's why it is having the impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and unself. So these are the inherent characteristics of the conditioned phenomena. So all the conditioned phenomena shows their suffering nature. So therefore, keep it like an experiment we are doing into the dukkha satya. So the interesting part is this. Now, more we know that, so slowly we get into the abandonment of the second noble truth. Now, into these 4 noble truths, there are a few things that we need to learn. Now, first noble truth, what are we going to do? So we need to understand it. We need to thoroughly understand. Dukkhaṃ ariya saccang pariññeya. So you need to fully comprehend, fully understand. Okay, dukkha samujayang ariya saccang pahatabbang. You need to let go. You need to abandon. That is the second noble truth. The tanha, the craving, has to be abandoned. Then dukkha nirodhaṃ ariya saccang. You need to satchikātabbang. You need to realize. And the fourth one, dukkha nirodhaṃ gamini patipada ariya saccang, that you need to develop. Right? So this is the 4 noble truths. How are you going to approach it practically? So in the first noble truth, or rather the first satya, first truth. So that has to be thoroughly realized. So the Satipatthana at first level help us to work on it. So to thoroughly realize. So what is the form aggregate? What is the feeling aggregate? So what is the perceptions? What are the formations? What are the consciousness? So all these 5 aggregates we are thoroughly examining, thoroughly investigating. We are working on the first satya, dukkha satya. Important thing is, as we are doing it, naturally it will help to abandon some amount of tanha, some amount of craving. So you will later understand, okay, I don't grasp too much as before. I'm not holding too much as before. So your attachment, your holding, your grasping, to some extent has reduced. And after some time you will realize, okay, now no grasping. Mind is released. Mind remain calm, very quiet, tranquil. No stress. To some amount that you are realized the third noble truth. It's not the perfect, but to some extent. So the whole working of this, we are developing the Noble Eightfold Path. We are working on the fourth Satya.
The question from this practitioner is it's a little bit strange experience. So this person could feel the breath in and out, and after a while he experienced the togetherness togetherness. The in and out, they are together for a few seconds.
Together?
Yeah. And the person wants to know what experience is this?
No, basically, as you continue, so the difference between in and out become less and less. So you can't differentiate whether this is in-breath or whether this is out-breath, you can't differentiate. Don't worry about it. Some sensation is there, you don't need to try hard to recognize whether it is in or out. Rather, this is actually a development. Now, to tell you some more information, now at the beginning we are working with signs, various marks. But as we continue, we lose these marks, we lose these signs. So through signs actually we distinguish. Through signs we are, recognizing. But ultimately the signs disappear. You can't find out the signs. So then it is a level that the mind become not interested about the whole thing and ultimately let go of. And mind can even release to signless, what we call the animitta. Not being able to recognize signs, now the mind let go of the whole thing. So therefore don't worry, so you are in the correct path. So even that's why we discussed yesterday, even assume now you are in the Vedananupassana. At beginning you may be able to recognize, okay, this is a pleasurable feeling, this is a painful feeling, this is an equanimous feeling, you can even categorize. But later, when things are happening very quickly, you can't name it. You can't tell that it is a pleasurable feeling or painful feeling or equanimous feeling because it's a mere feeling. You can't give a name, you can't label it. So same thing appears to the breathing as well.
Mindful eating. In the queue, mind is anticipating the food, feeling happy. Mind choose what to eat first. Experience crunchiness, softness, hardness, spiciness, different tastes. Perception arises that all the tastes are pleasant, likable. Noted how texture change. And the question is, Bhante, when I get a food I like very much, I can sense my craving, lobha. Then what should I do? Not eating it as I have greed and want to get rid of the craving. Eat it mindfully, noting the changes while eating. What is the middle way to practice this, Bhante?
Yeah, you can better eat. Because the body needs some food. But at the same time, as you honestly has mentioned, you can understand the desire as well. So some amount of greediness, little bit of craving arising, you are trying to enjoy it. So these are all, some honest reflections. So don't worry, we can't immediately get rid of all the desires. So we need to work it. We need to understand, okay, what are the inherent desires still working? So don't worry, So I'm understanding what are the shortcomings still available, but that knowledge is very important. So there's a very, deep statement by the Buddha available in the Sabbasava Sutta. Janato bhikkhave passato asavanam khayam vadam. No ajanato, no apassato. Knowing you are able to overcome the influxes, the defilements. Not by ignoring them, not by suppressing them. You need to admit, you need to understand, you need to see at that moment, okay, this is there, there's a desire. So when you admit it, when you see it, then you are not promoting it, you are not being a victim to it. then it will slowly fade away.
Dear Bhante, I was able to maintain mindfulness for about 2 steps before my mind flew off to some la-la land distraction. I was always told to bring my mind back to the meditation object once I notice it, but I often find this after many minutes have gone by. Is there any other method that can help me notice my mindlessness more quickly? Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, I mean, this is common. That's what I mentioned, because as we progress only, we become capable. At the beginning, we don't know when it has even drifted. We can't even catch it. After some time only we understand, oh my goodness, I was not here. I am supposed to be with walking, but now I am thinking about my future plans, how to buy the car, how to find a new house, and how to put the tap or whatever you had, you were thinking. That is very natural. So, but later, slowly, you will understand. So the point is like this. Now, if you have less mindfulness, the wandering time will be longer. The proliferation time, the papancha, the proliferation time will be longer, and your being with yourself will be shorter. But as you improve, the wandering time becomes shorter. So this becomes less and less. And you can be with yourself for a longer time. So this indicates how your development. You can assess your development using this kind of a situation. That's it? Okay, good.
That's all we have, Bhante.
Okay. If you have anything to discuss, we can spend few more minutes. Otherwise, we can wind up the session.
Brothers and sisters, if you have any questions, you can ask now. First, here.
Bhante, I think in meditation classes that we have been attending, there is very little emphasis on standing meditation.
Standing?
Yes. Today I noticed that you have brought it in, and this is only on the 3rd day. Usually I use standing meditation, right, as a transition. Like when we walk, you get very tired, then you notice that, okay, the dukkha arising, then you just want to rest, then you stand, and you feel quite pleasurable before you turn and continue.
Correct.
But while you deliberately stand, then you realize that actually there are many sensations arising, and perhaps I think 5 minutes is good, but beyond that, then you are like you get very tired. That the physical sensations get more pronounced, then the feelings come in. So is there any reason why that typically in meditation practice, this is not really emphasized? It's typically sitting, then we go walking, sitting, walking. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah, actually now, if you are into elements meditation, Buddha say at any posture you can practice. Yatha yatha va kayo panihito hoti tatha tathanam pajanati. Whatever the way the body is placed, positioned, you can know how the elements are manifesting. So, I mean, we can't every time sit, right? So, sometimes we have to walk, sometimes we have to stand. But the more you make use of your different postures, more speedy will be your progress. So, therefore, no need strictly to say, okay, I definitely have to sit to meditate. So, that's a wrong perception we have, okay? Whenever I am thinking about meditation, okay, I am having a perception. I have to sit, I have to cross legged, I have to close my eyes with a very intense manner, I have to focus. So this is the role model we have. But it is not the case. Say, while walking, we can develop these qualities. While standing, we can develop the qualities. So the Dhamma say that. So say, Gacchanto va gaccamiti pajanati. So while walking, you should know, okay, the body is walking. Tito va titom hiti pajanati. So the body is standing and you know it is standing. Nisinnova nisinnom hiti pajanati. It is sitting and you know it is sitting. Sayanova sayanom hiti pajanati. The body is lying down and you know, okay, it's now lying down. And then Buddha mentioned, Yatha yatha va kayo panihito hoti tatha tathanam pajanati. Whatever the way that body is positioned, placed, you know it is this particular way now it is happening. So that's why, I mean, if you are practicing any kind of an exercise, any kind of a stretching, movements, yoga exercises, Tai Chi or something, whatever the thing, whatever body related, try to do it mindfully. So then you are gaining something. You are being with yourself, mind become very calm, very relaxed. Each and every movement you can recognize. I mean, very quickly you can progress. Yeah.
Bhante, we have one last one, interesting one. During sitting meditation, felt my mind was racing as if time passed by very quickly. Felt rays of light emitting out of body, but the body is able to produce more in abundance and emit more. This feeling persisted for a while, felt lots of joy, mind is perfectly concentrated. I was able to understand how Sati balanced the two groups in the 7 factors of enlightenment, and I'm gaining insight, bringing tremendous joy and enlightenment.
Good. So nothing much to add, you were successful. So it's not a question, it's an answer. So I mean, the point is now when these two groups are balanced, that we discussed yesterday, so 7 enlightenment factors are there. So the mindfulness is the one completely observing how the balance is there. So the one group is the Dhammavicaya, Viriya, Piti, investigation, effort, rapture. The other group is Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekka, that means tranquility, concentration and equanimity. Now when these two groups are well balanced, what are you going to do? Just continue, you don't need to do any adjustments. Now say you are driving your vehicle and you have come to the proper speed and that is the maximum according to the law and no other vehicles. Okay, just maintain it. No need to adjust. So same thing here. So only if necessary we have to adjust, otherwise we can simply continue. Okay, I think those are the questions we have and no more questions. Then I think you are fairly good and most of you have some experience, and important thing is it's necessary to continue the practice. So I mean, don't limit your practice only to the retreat. Make use of in the morning if possible, try to walk. I mean, not immediately sit. If you have a corridor, if you have some garden or any kind of a passage, so make use of it to do the walking meditation. After walking, try to sit. And then you are well balanced. Your body also become well balanced, healthy, and the faculties become fairly balanced. And with some amount of developed mindfulness and concentration, you are coming to the sitting. Then while sitting, you don't need to struggle. Then you can further practice in a smooth way while sitting. And another thing is I like to sort of take your attention. Actually, there are a few Zoom sessions. If you like, you can join when you are returning. So actually our Nissarana monastery has several Zoom sessions we conduct throughout the week. So I have a program in English on every Sunday afternoon. Actually 1:30 Sri Lanka time means I think 11 a.m. Singapore time. I can pass the Zoom link. If you like, you can join. And again, there is a Zoom session on the Sutta teachings about recognizing various, particularly interested ones for the practice. We are selecting those suttas and we do a discussion on every Wednesday. And 7 a.m. Sri Lanka time, that means, what's the time? 7 a.m. here means 10:30, right? 9:30. 9:30 Singapore time. 1:30 Sri Lanka time means 4:30, I think 3 Singapore time. That is 2.5 hours difference, no? So you are ahead. So basically, you can join with that. So a fair group of practitioners are there. So because the point is, we need some kind of an encouragement for the practice. Because otherwise, we easily drops the encouragement. We easily drops the enthusiasm. Only during the retreat we develop it. Once we go home, it slowly disappear. So that's a problem. So you need some amount of an association, some encouragement, and how others are also progressing. Then we also start continuing the practice. So I invite you to participate into those Zoom sessions as well. I'll pass the information to the organizers, and you can join with that as well. Okay, then we'll have the Dhamma sermon. Actually, there will be two Dhamma sermons, right? One conducted by Bhante Chakkapala at what time? At 3 o'clock, one Dhamma sermon by Bhante Chakkapala, and then we'll continue the typical series of Dhamma sermon, what we were doing, and that will be as usual at 4:45. 4:30? 4:30 or 4:45? Okay, thank you.